Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday to you all. I hope you're having a great week. I hope you've had a fun weekend and things are going well in your house and you didn't start out too chaotically this morning. We are talking about the things that are showing up in your life, in your parenting journey. What are they? Are they symptoms? Are they a problem that just needs to be fixed? What exactly is going on here? I on Tuesday mornings at 8 a.m., I do a pod, so to speak, kind of like a audio discussion on an app called Peanut. And if you're not on Peanut and you're a mom and you have kids, you should check it out because it's awesome and it it just focuses on moms with kids from all over the world. So it's a lot that you can gain from being on there. And if you get on there, I have a group on there called Raising Happy Toddlers, the name of my book. So you should do it. Every Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock, I run a pod on there, an audio pod, and people can ask questions. And it is all toddler troubleshooting. Mostly it's like a question to answer. Let's get help. Today, I had a parent talking about an eating problem she was having with her child. So I decided this morning I would talk to all of you about what's going on repetitively in your home that's kind of making you a little crazy. Hi, Nick. How are you? So that's what we're going to talk about this morning. And if you're new to my broadcast, give me a hashtag new and say hello so I can properly say hello back. If you're on YouTube, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, click on the little bell, and you'll find out when I'm going live again and again. I go live every Tuesday morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, daylight time. Right now it's daylight time. And you can find me on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, all over. Hello, Facebook user. Don't know who you are. So, keep up my awesomeness. Thank you, Dick. Keep up yours too. Oh, here I am with the Carmex again. All right. So that was from last week with my sister. It was a little funny. It was a lot funny. Okay. So let's talk about this. What is going on in your home? And if you want a manual for your children and you don't have one, get my book, Raising Happy Toddlers: How to Build Great Parenting Skills and Stop Yelling at your book. Stop yelling at your kids. It's available in English and Spanish. And my 3 children's books, all about me. Being different is fun, and I'm grateful. All available at celiasbooks.com. So, yes, Nick, you need to get to the root of it. So, if there is a recurring problem, first thing you have to do is write it down. Write down what that recurring problem is. And what we don't realize is so many things that show up again and again and again, day after day after day, week after week after week, and you are so frustrated with it, is usually symptoms of a core problem. And what is the core problem? The core problem is you don't have a parenting system set up in your home so that you can be proactive with all these things that show up. So you have things in your home. Ask yourself this. I'm going to make you a list. And I want you to know and answer yes if it's so. If you have these things in place in your home, you have daily schedules, number 1. Number 2, do you have routines? Now, I ask this question to parents all the time. Do you have routines? And they'll go, well, yep, we wake up at a certain time. We go to bed at a certain time. Yeah. And the kids kind of hang out for a while when they wake up and they do things like this. That is not a routine. A routine is a step-by-step process at a certain time of the day. So you have a schedule, daily schedule. The daily schedule is made up of routines, micromanaged segments. A morning routine is like we get up, we go potty, we brush our teeth, we get dressed, we come down for breakfast, we fix our bed, we come down for breakfast, whatever it looks like. It is a step by step process that is identical day after day after day. And you stay consistent with it. And that way, your children master the routine. They know what's coming next. They feel more independent, more confident, more empowered if it is an actual routine, not just we get up at a certain time and then they hang out until around 10 o'clock and we eat breakfast. That is not a routine. Okay. All right. So, do you have routines in place? Do you have limits and boundaries in place? So, what are we allowed to do? What aren't we allowed to do? An example of a limit or boundary is you can throw a ball outside, you cannot throw a ball in the house. Do we totally eliminate throwing a ball? No, throwing a ball is one of the best things you can do to teach your child balance and coordination. So you don't eliminate the throwing of a ball, you set up a boundary around it. We throw balls outside, not in our home. Is there motivation for your children encouraged by some kind of form of recognition and encouragement? So is there something that you have in place that encourages your child to stay motivated, to stay on top of their tasks, to do what they need to do? Do you have consequences in place? Consequences are not punishment. Punishment does not teach, consequences do. And guys, if this is helping you, please share this out to other people because there's a lot of parents that need to kind of review this and learn about it. Okay. So if you have consequences in place that are not punishment, punishment is like you're grounded for the rest of your life. Give me that iPad, I'm throwing in the garbage. That is a punishment. That is not a teachable consequence. Okay. A teachable consequence, a good example, and probably the best example, and I've used it before, if you've listened to me before, is a speeding ticket. Why is a speeding ticket the perfect consequence? Because you speed, and we all know that if we speed, we run the risk of getting a speeding ticket. We speed, a policeman pulls us over, he gives us a speeding ticket. It directly relates to what we did. It is reasonable. He doesn't get in your car and drive away and say, sorry, you can't have your car back. Doesn't tow it away. Doesn't take your keys. In fact, he lets you start your car and go on your way, hoping you have learned a lesson and you won't speed again. And it is the same consequence every time you speed. You speed, you can get a ticket. We know it. So our choice to speed is an educated choice. That is the perfect consequence. Hi, John Paul. So, okay. So, do you have consequences in place? Thank you for taking notes, Nick. I can't see them all, but I thank you. I hope Uganda is in wonderful weather today. Is having wonderful weather. John Paul, thank you for joining. Okay. So, are there consequences in place? And I'm going to pause here because if you have a recurring issue like that, the mom I talked to on Peanut today, who is constantly having problems with her son eating and throwing food, instead of just spending every day dealing with that and yelling at them, you need to write that down and you need to create motivation for them to stop doing that and a consequence when they do that. Best consequence for throwing food is gone, mealtime is over. If they throw food, that's my consequence. They throw food, they're done eating. That's it. You throw food, you're done. You want more food? Come back in an hour and have more food. But if you're going to throw food now, obviously you're not hungry anymore. Done. Don't make a game. Don't put it back. Don't keep giving it back and they throw and you give it back. It's not a game. It's mealtime. So if there is a recurring issue, you want to think about two things to resolve it. And that is motivation for your child to make a good choice and consequence if they make a not so good choice. Okay. Beautiful here in Wisconsin too. Yay. I'm so glad. It's been raining here in Maryland. Cheers. Cheers if you have water or coffee or whatever you're drinking. Okay. So, do you have motivation and consequences in place? Encouragement and consequences. Do you offer your child choices for negotiable things? Are you empowering them through choice? Are you giving them responsibility to choices that they have made? Example, the time choice. If you need to transition, honey, I see you're busy playing. Would you like 2 or 4 more minutes before you have to take a bath? 4 minutes, please. Okay. 4 minutes. I'm going to set the alarm. What are you going to do? I'm going to take a bath. Great. Set the alarm. Let them hear it. Now it is up to them to take responsibility for that choice, which is why they have to hear the alarm. If they don't hear the alarm, then you're just walking back in there and going, okay, it's time to go. You've taken away the empowerment of them making a choice and their responsibility to standing by what they decided and they said they would do. The only way to create a human being that has integrity is for you to have integrity and to teach them how to have integrity. So are choices in place in your home? Is consistency an every time operation? Are you being consistent with everything you try? Or are you a parent that says, well, I've tried everything and nothing works? Usually, if you say, I've tried everything and nothing works, that means you are not being consistent with anything. Things did not change overnight. They're not going to heal themselves overnight. Don't expect a miracle to happen. I will say with choices, when done correctly, that is the biggest thing where parents have come to me and said, oh my gosh, Celia, it was like magic. You said this would happen and it happened. It's actually not magic, though. It's about respect and empowerment and trust. So, do you have these things in place that I just listed? And are you being a role model? Are you being the person you want your children to be? If you want your children well-mannered, you have to be well-mannered. If you want your children not to cuss, you don't cuss. Presence and persistence, yes, absolutely. Which brings us to our next question. Are your children receiving attention because of their negative behavior? Or are you being intentional about giving them positive attention? So you are showing up for them. You are, when they get home after a long day, you're welcoming them at the door. You're getting up off the couch and welcoming them. You're spending 10 minutes playing a game together. You're giving them your time, not just your body. What do I mean by that? So many parents go, yeah, I spend time with my kids. And what are they doing? The kids are playing. They're sitting on the couch on their phone. That is not spending time with your kids. That is sitting in the same room. Your body is on the couch. They're on the floor. And you're in individual worlds. You might as well have a wall set up. You actually have to interact with your child. If these things are not in place in your home, these make up a system, a parenting system. We have systems in place for everything. Everything you do, there's a system. There's a system to the way you cook. There's a system to drive. There's a system to go to the bathroom. Things have systems. You work a job. There is a system for the job you work. Everything has systems. Why do people think there shouldn't be a system in place for parenting? There should always be a system. Because if you don't have a system, everything that shows up that you get frustrated with is because of the lack of a system. And they are symptoms. They are no different than you getting a runny nose, having a cough, and not finding out what's going on. My throat is so sore. Well, I guess it's just sore today. Maybe you have strep throat. That would be good to know. That sore throat is a symptom. It is not the core cause of the problem. In parenting, we deal with symptoms all the time, which is why parents tend to yell at kids. You want to stop yelling? Be proactive, be intentional, set up a system in your home. Don't know how to set up a system? That's what I'm here for. You can work with me privately. You can work with me in a group situation. But be intentional about setting up a system in your home. Without a system, without organization, without schedules and routines and strategies in place, your home is in chaos. Your children are stressed out, and so are you. Create the system where you can continue years and years from now and be intentional and proactive about things that come up in all the phases and stages. I have raised 5 teenagers. They live to talk about it. Did we have some challenges? Yes. Did overall it went great? Yes. 3 of those kids aren't even mine. 27 years of being a stepmom without yelling. 41 years of being a mom without yelling. You don't have to yell at your kids. You shouldn't yell at your kids. Do you like being yelled at? Well, guess what? Your kids don't like being yelled at either. And you're permanently changing the way they think about themselves. When you yell at kids all the time, your children think they're bad kids. They think they do nothing right. Everything they do is wrong. They don't feel valued. They don't value themselves. They have low confidence. Yeah, if no system, a lot of symptoms. Exactly. It's very confusing, those 2 words. You have to think. Think before you say them so you're saying the right one. Yelling is not the answer, guys. And in fact, when you look at society today and the school shootings and the abuse of children, all of that going on, that is because there are so many people filled with anger and rage. Where did that anger and rage come from? You guessed it, their childhood. However they were raised created an adult that's filled with rage. Kids that are yelled at all the time or brought up in an abusive environment, an aggressive environment, they don't grow up to hate you. They grow up to hate themselves. Those people that do all that needless violence against people and truly against children hate themselves. So are not happy people. These are people that are so angry and so enraged, they have to take it out on the whole world. How will we change it? The only way you can change it and you can truly affect the billion-dollar industry of therapy, all these people recovering from their childhoods, is to start changing childhoods. Start teaching a better way. Start learning a better way. That's my whole goal about the Day of Calm Foundation. So I can get into schools and other people working with me can get to kids and parents and start changing the way they parent their children so we can see generations that are not recovering from their childhoods, that instead are blossoming from their childhoods. Can you imagine if we were able to affect people so that they were able to affect their own children in a positive, respectful way, not screaming and yelling and not with aggression? You're killing your kids and you're killing our future. So if you're ready to do better, reach out to me. If you're ready to help my work with the Day of Calm Foundation, go to dayofcalm.org and make a donation. Even $1 helps. Every little bit helps and gets me and my colleagues into more and more schools, daycares, jails. One of the people that are on the board of the Day of Calm, he's working in jails. He's getting into jails and affecting the prisoners with different mindsets so they take responsibility for their own actions. He works with teens. I work with parents and teachers and kids. Yes, exact. Good. Oh, I like that analogy, Nick. Raising fragrant, beautiful flowers instead of stinky, stinging, ugly weeds. I like that. I like it. Thumbs up. So if you're ready to make a difference in your family, reach out to me. In the United States and the world, go to dayofcalm.org and make some kind of sponsorship. I appreciate it. I know your money is valuable. But what if you could just make a small donation and start changing this world? It really does take one person can make changes. What to do when another adult is yelling at your child. My daughter, that is 2 years old, will touch her younger 1-year-old cousin's face or take her pacifier out of her mouth, and her aunt will yell at her to not do that or don't touch her. She is getting yelled at daily for this because we live in the same house. It's a good question. And often I get that question is, what do you do about the other adults in your house? You make it understood that we're not yelling at our kids. And I appreciate if you don't yell at my child. But if there's a recurring issue, she's taking the pacifier out of his mouth all the time. Granted, she's only 2. Then you also need to be proactive on helping her understand not to do that. She needs to learn not to take it out. She needs to be redirected. She needs to have some encouragement, gets a sticker every time she goes through a day without taking his pacifier out. You need to approach that problem proactively, not just spend every day her being yelled at. She's 2 years old. She doesn't know unless someone teaches her. We are here to teach our children. And if you don't teach her, she will not learn. She's not learning by being yelled at. What she's learning is she's a bad kid. Everything she does is wrong. That's what she's learning. She's not learning a thing about not taking his pacifier. No one's teaching her. No one's giving her options. No one's explaining why. We're just yelling at her. You will never solve that problem if you don't try to teach her why it's important not to do that. The yelling isn't doing a thing. And you need to work with the adults that live in your home and let them understand why you're doing the things you do and why you're working hard not to yell at kids. It's not an easy thing. Sometimes it's a cultural thing. A lot of cultures believe, well, there's no other way but to yell at kids. My dear friend in Nigeria, who is also a parenting coach, they do what's called flogging in Nigeria, basically beating children. That is accepted. And she's working hard to reverse it. Because all flogging and beating and aggression and yelling does is it raises an angry, rageful child. That's all it does. That adult is going to be also filled with anger and rage, just like his parents are. Basically, if you're beating a child and screaming and yelling at a child, you are throwing a tantrum. You never learned how to regulate your own emotions. And you are teaching your child that if they're disappointed, they get to scream and yell too, just like you. If we don't teach our children how to regulate their emotions, they will grow up with dysregulated emotions for their whole life, just like the person who's screaming and yelling at them. You're screaming and yelling because you never learned a better way. And you are directly teaching your child that when they're disappointed in something, they get to scream and yell. I just did a masterclass on tantrums and how to end the cycle. You can't catch it live, but if you're interested in catching the replay, you can have the recording sent to you. How? Number one, you can sign up for just that class, less than $1 a day. Even though you didn't catch it live, we'll send you the replay. Or you can join my Tranquility Tribe and get a masterclass of importance every month. Get a system in place that you can watch online at your own pace and start changing the way you parent and start ending the symptoms that are showing up because you have no system in place. Be proactive or be miserable. You can change the way you parent, and all the stages and phases of life you will approach proactively. You will have knowledge of what to do. You will stop flying by the seat of your pants and causing everyone to be miserable. You're the parent. It rests on your shoulders. I have so many parents like, can you give my child therapy? Can you give my child therapy? Yes, I can. But every child that I take for therapy, I also take their parents. And I tell parents, I'm not helping your child without helping you, because I can help your child and bring him back. And he goes right back into this dysfunctional parenting thing that's going on in your house, and it will destroy any good work. You have to decide that, yes, a good deal of this rests on my shoulders, and I'm the one that has to become intentional. If you think you need help and you want to just talk about it, go to talkwithcelia.com. Talkwithcelia.com. And you can set up a time to talk with me. Nick, can you put that in the comments? Talkwithcelia.com. And you can set up a time to talk to me. And we'll see what's going on, how I can help, if it's a good fit. Celia for president. I don't want that job. I do not want that job. But thank you, Nick. Thank you. Thank you. There it is. Talkwithcelia.com. Okay? If you want to set up a time to chat. There is help for you if you're willing to get help and you're willing to stay consistent and you are willing to learn. Look at it this way. You are here today with all of the smarts that you have right now. Everything you know, all of your knowledge is what you have at this very moment. This very moment. If things are still not working, With all of the information you have in your head, you need to learn more. You have not learned enough. You too can see 41 years of parenting ending up with 5 successful children. Or you can see all these years and decades of parenting and having children who are miserable in therapy, trying to heal, trying to deal with life, no job or not a good job, living on your couch. You can decide to do something now, or you can definitely pay much later in life for not doing anything now. Is it all free? No, it's not free. But is there a more important investment than your family? Is there something you buy right now that doesn't move your family forward, that you pay for month after month? Think about that. What possibly ranks above the importance of your family and the well-being of your children and raising wonderful, contributing, self-reliant adults? What's above that? There's nothing above. I can't think of one thing that's above that. Okay, guys. So, it's been over a half hour. I'm super grateful for you guys taking time out of your busy schedules to spend a half hour of time right here with me. Nick, thank you for all your note taking and your assistance. I appreciate it. Yes, nothing is above that. Exactly. So, decide what you want to do. If you even think that maybe I should work with Celia, maybe I should just find out what it's all about. And if it's a fit for me and you, go to talkwithcelia.com. Talkwithcelia.com, that's my calendar. And find out if it's something you want to do. You don't have to. There's no obligation. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just a conversation about what's going on in your family and how we can work together to change. Wouldn't it be nice to smile every morning? Wouldn't it be nice to see your kids smile every morning? Wouldn't it be nice to stop yelling? I guarantee you your kids would be really happy if you stop yelling. Let's do this. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. I will talk to you next. Well, I'll be on live next Tuesday at 10:30 here every week, unless if I'm not here, it's because something is in the way of it. But for the most part, weekly at 10:30. If you're on YouTube, check out the other videos. Thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell when I go live. In the meantime, guys, work hard, do something intentional with your child. Whether you choose to make a choice or not, you have still made a choice. Absolutely, Nick. Thank you for adding that. Absolutely. It's all your responsibility. And don't you want your children to choose wisely too? It's all about thinking, making that choice, deciding what's good for you. Okay? All right. I wish you days filled with peace, love, tons of laughter. Really is the best medicine. And I will see you here next time in Pumped Up Parenting and Around the Web. Everybody have a wonderful day. Be intentional. Bye-bye.